America, different parts of North America are getting different temperatures. We are still here in mid-southern Texas where it is hot, hot, hot.
Yes. And over like I think 60% of the country is under heat advisory warning. So water, electrolytes, be careful on those longer runs, do all those things, make sure that you're training smart. Don't get caught out there. It's dangerous. Try to run as early as possible. Take all those precautions that you need to take to run safely.
Yeah, remember, just use common sense and think for yourself, right? We always encourage that because you want to make sure you're doing that. And that really is the reason that we do these each week. We've said is that not medical advice. We're sharing with you guys stuff that works for us. We're in our 50s, where our high school weight will be this way forever because we know what to eat. And we're knowing strength training and all the foods that we eat, all these different things tie together so we can keep running. That's the whole goal of all this.
Yeah, and you guys we're all like I said, master and senior master runners. So we're all still making it happen. But there's a lot of things we got to look out for more because, we are older. We are, running a high impact sport. We're asking our body to do a lot. So we really need to be strong. We need to, pay attention to our nutrition and make sure that we're getting those nutrients we need. Because like I said, we're asking our body to do a lot. So we need to give it the proper fuel that it needs to be able to do that.
Right. And this ties into perfectly today. We're going to talk the most common nutrient deficiencies. Again, for masters runners, it's really everybody in general. Obviously, we want to relate this to masters runners, who we really all are. And as I just said, but we're going to repeat, this is not medical advice. Please do your own research, consult with your physician, your doctor, healthcare provider, whoever you choose to, because we want to try to just maintain our health and keep running. And again, there are no mistakes. There's only lessons that we're learning. We're trying to let you guys share information. So again, think for yourself. Cannot stress that enough. And that's why we're doing this each week. So again, we're going to go. Last week is just a recap. We talked about the importance of your bones, how it's so critical, especially as we age, sadly.
Yeah, realizing that your peak bone mass happens at 30 and then declines.
I never finished that all out. So we're just going to skip through that again. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the most common nutrition is just rushing deficiencies for runners. So once again, so today we're going to dig into vitamin D. Is something that, again, in the summertime, you think, okay, we're getting plenty of vitamin D, but it's been so drilled into us that you got to stay away from the sun. It's bad, bad, bad. And we disagree. Obviously, you want to limit your exposure, but
do it safely. But the sun, we need the sun. Every living organism needs the sun.
For life.
It is not, without it, we all die. So it is a critical part, getting it safely in the mornings. But if you live above a certain latitude, you are at a disadvantage just because you're
where you live in the world,
far away from the equator. So even if you are getting just that safe morning sunlight, here down in the south, we're pretty good with that. But anywhere above, what's it, Georgia is above?
I think it's above Atlanta, somewhere in that region. You start to become less. And then we've got some friends up in Canada. You guys are really at a deficient. Here we are starting into August. You're going to start to see the temperature change for you guys. You're going to get limited. The sun, daylight's time is going to start to decrease rapidly for you all. So
so those are things that with everything that happened, in the last couple of years, they realized a lot of people that were critically ill and got hit the hardest. This is one of the major deficiencies that across the board everybody had, was a vitamin D deficiency. So easy to check. Remember, it's the 25 hydroxide test.
It's a test you should be asking your physician. Next time you do some blood work, ask them if they decline. Again, you're in charge, but ask them again if they cost a little bit extra. It's worth knowing what this number is.
It's an inexpensive test. There's no reason why they wouldn't. It should be part of your regular thing, but don't assume that it is. And they're going to say, 30 is kind of where it should be at. I believe much higher, higher than 50.
Much higher,
it is getting that for optimal health. Remember, we don't want to just skate by. We want optimal health. And then we know, it's for our bones, our immunity, for so many different things, our muscles. We need this as human beings, as runners. We want to stay healthy. This is a huge, huge part of it.
Yeah. And again, muscle function. So signs of your low is you're going to have muscle weakness, some bone pain. Again, it ties into last week. You might be a little bit depressed and you're having trouble recovering from some type of injury or abrasion on your skin.
Wound healing. If you notice that things are taking, longer than it should, those are all that could all be signs that you have some deficiency. Like I said, it's an easy test to check to make sure that your levels are optimal for, like I said, optimal health is what we're going for.
Yeah. Now you can take supplementation for this. But ideally you want to try to get it naturally as best you can. Again, sun exposure, consult with your physician, supplementation, but fatty fish, egg yolks, and then fortified milk.
And those eggs have to come from pasture raised that are out in the sunlight, getting the natural nutrients that they're supposed to. That's what's going to allow you to get the most benefit for eating those types of foods.
And you'll notice it in the color of the yolk.
Yep.
That's a big difference.
Dark orange.
Dark orange is what it should be. At least that's what we believe.
Yeah.
Magnesium is another thing that most people shockingly are deficient. Now we actually add some supplementation with this, and since then we've noticed a difference. At least myself, I'm now more regular, which is critical to our overall health.
As runners, we know this is one of the big things that we lose. Salt is the biggest, but out of the electrolytes, any electrolyte powder that you're going to have, it's going to have, calcium, salt, magnesium, and potassium. So but magnesium it used to be, they said 300. Now it's 600 enzymatic reactions. We know it is involved in just about everything that happens in our body, the trillions of things that go on in our body, but we know we need this. This is a huge thing, and a lot of people are deficient in it. The food that we have, our soil, that our vegetables and everything are grown in are not the same as they were 60, 70 years ago. So there's a lot of things that affect your ability. It's your ability to absorb this is a huge, huge part of that. We talked about gut health, a couple weeks ago, because if your gut's not right, it's not absorbing these nutrients, even if you are eating the right food. But this is something that if your magnesium is off, it's going to affect everything.
And signs you're low, you're going to have muscle cramps. You may have trouble sleeping. A lot of people do have trouble sleeping these days.
Magnesium is a big thing for it.
Yeah, migraines, and if you're fatigued as well. And then again, you can increase this by eating dark leafy greens, avocados, which is one of our favorites. We have one every day.
Yep.
And nuts and seeds.
So there's a lot you can get in your food, but like I said, I supplement with there's a lot of different kinds of magnesium. So I got a complex version that has 6 different ones in there.
This one that's Patty's taking, if you can see that right there.
Yeah.
I take a different one, but it's the bottom line is that as long as you're getting what you need to get in your daily dietary intake.
Yeah.
Omega-3s, we've had a whole session on this. We'll probably go back to that at some point because it is so critical, especially in North America. Our omega-3s, and it's flipped around, and it goes back to the amount of processed foods people are eating, and it plays a crucial role in your brain and heart health.
Yeah. Remember, your cells, every one of your cells is membrane is made of fat. So you want healthy fat making up that. You do not want a ton of omega-6s making up that. That's the omega-3s are the anti-inflammatory. Omega-6s are simplistically the more pro-inflammatory. So we don't want that. Our ratios from the amount of omega-6s has skyrocketed since the 70s. So, and our waistlines have skyrocketed since the 70s. So there's a lot of, correlation that a lot of people believe. But we know brain health, heart health, a lot of different things for omega-3. And you can get it if you're quality, if you do supplement, it has to be a very high quality supplement. But ideally get it from high quality food.
Yeah. And going back to what Patty just said is about the waistlines of North Americans, we focus on keeping our omega-6s low, and we're our high school weight. That's a part of it. Mm-hmm. Little tip for you there, but that's not that hard to do. You just got to be conscious of what you're eating. So,
or don't eat processed food.
Yeah, don't eat processed food is the easiest way to stop and solve that issue. So, again, signs you're low, you have dry, flaky skin, some joint pain. We're all going to be stiff as we get older, sadly.
But if you're more than normal, if once you get going, you're still feeling that, there's a lot of things that we kind of shrug off as, oh, well, that's just old age or that's just this. No, you should feel good every day.
It's sad.
You really should feel good every day. So if you're having these, like, I'm fatigue, I'm having this, or my skin is like, what's happening? Don't just chalk it up to that's what happens when you get old. A lot of times we're just missing some key nutrients that our body needs. So
yeah, it's amazing the minor changes. Small hinges open big doors, as we've said many times before. So
absolutely,
you can get these from salmon, mackerel, sardines. I know people don't like to eat that. I actually like. I don't want to say I like, but I will eat sardines.
He did. I watched him. He bought a can. I was like, we were all giving him grief about when he was going to eat those, and he did. I was like, okay.
And I'm going to eat some more today, as a matter of fact. So flax seeds,
I can't
chia
do
seeds,
it. I choose to get it from my sockeye wild caught salmon. But,
yeah.
But like I said, it's those small fatty fish are some of the best nutrient dense type fish that you can eat if you can stomach it.
And vitamin A plays a critical role for our vision, our growth and immunity. Obviously, we're all grown now, but still, you still need this, right? For our vision, especially as we get older.
It's good for our skin health. It has a lot, and it's a part of our bone health too. It's part of one of the there's so many processes that happen or whatever to have good bone health, and it's magnesium, it's zinc, it's all these different ones. Vitamin A being one of them. We think of vitamin A just the retinol to reduce wrinkles on your face, but actually it plays a critical role in a lot of things also in the body.
And these are some signs you're low: night blindness, dry eyes. Again, skin issues keeps coming up, dry and thinning hair. Of course, for a lot of men, that becomes common as we get older. Frequent infections. And again, you can solve this by eating liver. I know it's one of those foods a lot of people don't like to eat.
Liver is one of those superfoods. If you could eat liver and sardines, you'd get a lot of your nutrients. And I wouldn't be very happy if that's all I could eat, but they are nutrient dense things.
So as a little tip on the liver, what I've done is I've bought some at the store. It's very inexpensive because most people don't want it. And you cook it and you throw it in its like small chunks, if you will. And I throw it in the freezer and then I have it as a small snack. Again, it's not the most palatable item, but I know that the benefit I'm getting from it. So I will do that in fairly frequently. I haven't done that in a while, but I can go back to it.
To get grass-fed and finished ancestral supplements of
here's one
beef liver.
Yeah, and that's another supplementation that we take, which again, as a substitution for.
Because I can't eat the liver. I just can't. I know how good it is for me, but I can't do it.
So iodine actually is shockingly one of these other nutrients that we're deficient, and it's key for our thyroid.
A lot of people gave up salt. We were told that salt was bad, so everyone's on a low sodium. A lot of iodized salt is how you get your body cannot make iodine. Your body needs iodine to make your thyroid hormone. Very critical part, because if you have, a lot of people have disruptions with their thyroid, and that can cause either hypo or hyper. Both are bad, especially if you experience one. If you've got hypo, fatigue, really it's an energy suck. It's really hard to even function. Hyper is even the opposite end of the scale. So iodine is a crucial role, because those thyroid hormones cannot be produced without it. But it's also part of your energy metabolism. There's so many different vitamins, minerals that are involved in that, and your immune health. So super important.
Yeah, and signs you're low, you're fatigued, you have some weight gain. Again, goes back, flaky skin again, and some mental functions. So this is a lot of times when we feel foggy, our body's just deficient in some of these key nutrients, and we all have it.
Yeah, we can't write it off to just, we're getting older, we're getting this, my skin is changing, and things do change, but notice things that are like, if you're really noticing the dry skin, if you're really noticing these things, it could be, simply by some, changing some of the food you eat to get some of these nutrients in that you could see a big benefit with.
Yeah, exactly.
And choline, that's another one that most people haven't heard of, but it's one of those things that does a lot in metabolism. It does a lot in our brain health, cognitive function, which we all care about. We all care about our metabolism. Like I said, how well we metabolize, how well it goes is how long the distance we can go. That's a huge part of it. So it's like I said, something that people don't really think about, but it's super important. And the signs that you're low, it's muscle damage. That's probably not what we're dealing with. But if you notice you're forgetful of things, you just can't function the way you used to and stuff. It's not necessarily just because of I'm getting older and this. There's a lot of times where it could be something as simple as adding some different foods that allow you to get some of these vitamins, minerals that are not quite, most people haven't even heard of them or even kind of on their radar. We know about the big ones, but these also ones work in conjunction with so many other processes.
Yeah.
So if you're missing one of the links of one of these processes, then, things just don't function as well.
And once again, organ meats, milk, dairy products, seafood, pork, and chicken. Some common things that keep coming up, these themes, right? These organ meats and fatty fish are really common. They're going to help in so many ways. And a lot of us has just taken that out of our diets. So we focus at least on the fatty fish. We get that a couple of times a week now because we are so conscious of this. So
absolutely. CoQ10, that's been around for a lot. Supplementation with CoQ10 has been around for a lot. And we know there's been a lot of talk about mitochondrial health. And we know the importance of that, protecting that, because we have thousands and hundreds of thousands of mitochondria in different types of cells. So it's a big thing. You've got, if it's not functioning right, you could have widespread issues because your mitochondrial health is not where it needs to be. And we know that's what produces our energy. It does a lot more too that we've realized, but how much energy to produce is how far you can go when you run, how much, before that fatigue sets in. So it's a huge, huge part of that. And unfortunately, if you're on a statin, which a lot of people are, it blocks the production of this. So that is one thing to be, hopefully you guys are not on statins, but
if
whatever,
you are, a lot of people are, like Patty said, you got to be conscious of this, right? And if you see these signs like fatigue, muscle weakness, joint pain, some depression, even some high blood pressure, consult with your physician, obviously, but be careful. That's why we're telling you guys to think for yourself and do your own research. They're going to probably, based on at least the US standard, they're going to push more for the meds. That's your choice between you and your doctor.
They honestly have to. They have to. Statins, you're put on a statin if your LDL is over 200. That's just, if they don't, the doctors get dinged for that. Statins have a huge role, I know, for certain things, but not for a blanketed given to like everybody. And that's kind of where the pharmaceuticals go. They want everybody to be taking their drugs because they make a boatload of money off of statins. So for whatever reason, if you're on them, just know that this is definitely something you have to watch for, because statins do block the production of this, and it has a huge role in your energy and how your mitochondria function and all of that. So that could lead to, like I said, fatigue and a lot of issues that you might be having that you can't quite figure out, but something's wrong. If you do, investigate, look into these things. It's just something that we want, like I said, to be on your radar, because you should feel good every day.
Yeah,
that's not abnormal. That's how you should be.
Yeah, and again, organ meats, once again, fatty fish. There you see a common theme again. Meat, red meat, nuts, and seeds. Yeah. We're meat eaters. It's what we choose to do. But that's, again, just us. So iron is another one, especially for runners, just due to the compounding effect that we are putting through our bodies through.
Actually from the pounding of your feet. But I will say this is one thing, if you do correct this, it's one of the biggest performance enhancers. We know iron is oxygen, hemoglobin. That is, it's the thing that makes hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is what transfers oxygen. Oxygen is what gives the energy. So that's the whole huge part of it. if you do show up, I would get further testing because they're going to do a simple serum, probably iron serum test is what, if you just got a regular blood panel. But if you are deficient in copper, it can show up as anemia. So that is one thing, just to get further testing, your transferrin, your ferritin, the TIBC. You would have to ask your doctor for this. They're going to be a little more expensive. If I was going to if they told me this and that I couldn't correct this with food, it didn't change by eating more red meat or those foods, I would still look into further testing before taking iron supplementation. So, but it is a common deficiency that a lot of people have. So we just want to
make you guys aware of it is the bottom line, especially as runners, right? Mm-hmm. Again, signs are low, your fatigue again, pale skin, have some headaches, and obviously shortness of breath due to the oxygen transportation issue. And you can solve this by eating red meat if you choose to eat meat. We do poultry, seafood, and beans. And if you're not, if you're a vegetarian, you're just going to have to take some supplementation.
Citrus also, you can citrus can help with that also. But like I said, check your copper too.
Yeah, make sure that's a common one people overlook.
Yeah, you don't need a lot of it. It's only like 1 milligram a day. But unless you're eating liver, unless you're eating oysters every day, or spirilla, there's not a lot of things that have copper in it that probably, especially the American diet, that you don't eat on a regular basis. So adding liver, if you can make it happen, you would definitely make up for a lot of deficiencies in some of these, but definitely copper would be one of those.
And then vitamin E is another one that a lot of people are deficient in. And again, it's a powerful antioxidant, helps with the skin, once again, heart, brain, eye, and immunity. And you were doing some research on this recently. What was the other stuff that you came across with vitamin E?
That most of the supplementation, if you are going to take it, is kind of garbage. So you have to, I always find out what I need, go to consumer labs, see what they've tested. You do want the tocopherols to have the gamma, the beta, and the delta, have all three of those. So that took me a little bit to find that had all three of those. That was third-party tested. And I found one that was Metagenics.
So when we found that on Amazon, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, that's the one that Patty's now taken because she was a little bit low with that.
But that's something that's getting a good quality supplement. Most of them, that's why, like I said, Consumer Labs is a great resource. They do the testing. A lot of things have heavy metals in it. It doesn't seem like that should be a thing, but they test for that. They have to test for that because so many different supplements. And remember, supplements are not regulated by the FDA at all. So they can say a lot of things. Sometimes they don't even have the amounts that they're saying. Sometimes they have twice the amount. So whatever third-party testing that you trust, that you go through, they give you a lot of research. Consumer Labs gives you a ton of like the recent studies on it. It's a very good research that I use for all of the supplementations that I take. So you want to get good quality ones.
Yeah, and again, you can get this vitamin E through spinach, avocados, hazelnuts, and sunflower seeds. So those are some common nutrient deficiencies we all have, but especially as
we don't necessarily have. These are common ones that they have found in the U.S. population.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of the times is because the average U.S. Western diet is not the greatest.
Sadly, that is the case. So this ties into if you are struggling to kind of track and you're just not quite sure what to do, you can always feel free to reach out to us if you go to runtips.us/call. That is runtips.us/call. Set up a time. Patty and I are more than willing to chat with you for a few minutes. You would be shocked at some of the small changes if you made to your daily intake that's going to help you move forward. Obviously, we're giving you stuff that works for us, but we've had a lot of people ask us for this, and this is why we offer this.
And just some clarifications on things. There's a lot of stuff out there, and like I said, you're overwhelmed, you're not going to do anything.
Yeah, that's the bottom line, because we were in the past and we, again, focused, got darn, and now we're our high school weight, as we say all the time, and we're going to be this way forever because we know what to eat and we focus on these nutrients. We're not perfect, but we do our best. This is why we then research this stuff to share with you guys, so you can think for yourself,
and
do
make
what
those
you
good choices.
do what you need. But if you need a little bit of extra, kind of just an outside set of eyes or to listen to us, feel free to go to runtips.us/call and we can set up a time. So
just remember, you should feel good most every day. That is not something that is something you should expect. Good health is what we should have. That should not be out of the ordinary. That should be what we're striving for, because the healthier you are, the better you are for you and your loved ones.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, we'll see you guys next week.
Happy Saturday, everyone.
All right, take care.